complacency. U.S. must act now to counter threats. U.S. may have left Afghanistan, but the war against Islamic terrorism has not left us. And to quote you, radical Islam is again on the march. In what way?
Well, I think you have to appreciate, the symbolism of what happened. As I received a note from an allied ambassador from the Middle East that said the entire region has received the word now that jihad is won, the West is lost. Their recruitment is through the roof. The UN is reporting 8,000 to 10,000 foreign fighters flowing into Afghanistan. And I think we're in a real period now when the Obama administration, similar to when the Obama administration pulled out of Iraq in 2011, and then we saw the rise of the ISIS caliphate over the next few years. But the difference in what Senator Graham and I get to is we have a lot more tools to deal with the ISIS caliphate in Syria and Iraq. We had bases, local allies in the Kurds, access from the ocean. There was much more when we had to send our soldiers back to work with. But over in Afghanistan, when we have to send our soldiers back, and I believe we will, and that's what's so heartbreaking to me, is that we don't have any of those things. We have no bases, no allies, and they're armed to the teeth, and they have the powers now of the state to put behind the Taliban caliphate and their jihad. And the intelligence is clear. ISIS and al-Qaeda fully intend to attack the West, and they're preparing to do so. Senator Graham and I do not want to wait until we have another Pulse nightclub or, God forbid, another 9/11. We need to begin making those steps now to keep terrorism in check and protect the homeland. But we're not seeing any of that from the Biden administration.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Good morning. Happy Veterans Day. Today's Veterans Day. I wanted to play that clip as a reminder. One, the beautiful Veterans Day procession heading up to the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. Today, Thursday, November 11th, 2021, is the direction of our American military has been floundering ever since this man left office. Unfortunately, it was the strongest I've ever seen it, frankly, in my lifetime when he was in office. But Donald Trump issued a Veterans Day message today. We have some very funny and interesting and humorous things to talk about today. Also, some very important things. We're going to be doing a full trial coverage of the Rittenhouse trial later today. We are gathering assets and building out a show on that today. And we're going to be going live and telling you all of the major updates on that later. But we wanted to start today talking about America's standing in the world and also talk about what Veterans Day means and why we should care about America standing in the world. Without further ado, Donald Trump. Here's Donald Trump's Veterans Day message to all the veterans.
Veterans Day, I'd like to pay tribute to all of those incredible people, and you are indeed incredible people, who serve so well and so strong and so powerfully in the United States Armed Forces. We love you, our nation respects you, the world respects you, and we will come back. Our country has gone through a lot. The last period of very, very tough, watching what you had to watch, but our country will be back, and will be back stronger than ever. Happy Veterans Day.
Now, that is what a leader sounds like. Honestly, I don't care what your opinion is on Donald Trump. He was better than any president in my lifetime to our American military. Here is what his wife had to say on Veterans Day as well. We have Melania Trump tweeting this. You can see here Melania Trump tweeting a message about veterans on Veterans Day, and it is accompanied by an American flag. I've seen that flag. That's at Mar-a-Lago. That's a beautiful big flag at Mar-a-Lago. And Melania Trump says, "This Veterans Day, we pause to recognize men and women who have fearlessly protected our nation's freedoms. They bravely answered the call to serve, and they have earned our respect that comes with defending our great flag." That is what First Family President and First Lady Donald and Melania Trump, what they have to say on this Veterans Day. I think that it's important to simply start off the show acknowledging all of the sacrifices made. Do you have veterans in your family? Are you a veteran yourself watching? We want to thank you, and we just want to say, obviously, none of what we can do here and none of what we do on a regular basis, streaming, talking about the future of this country, we wouldn't have any future if it weren't for you, and we wouldn't have a nation if it weren't for you. It's pretty clear. And so we love this place a lot, and it's why we're very concerned about the direction that it's headed. We're very concerned about the direction that our country is going right now. Once again, we are going to talk about the Rittenhouse trial later today, and there's a lot of people wanting to talk about that. We're gathering a bunch of assets. We're doing a bunch of research, and we actually have a very, very important angle, I think, to bring to you as to what's going on in that trial. I think it's really important and going to be very important to talk about what the strategy is for the prosecution in that trial, and we're going to do a full special on that. We also did a deep dive on the podcast. You can subscribe to the podcast, and you can go ahead and listen. We covered it for an hour yesterday on the podcast. And we're just going to make sure that when we're broadcasting live, there are sensitivity rules, and so we're just going to make sure that this show's all zipped up, and we're going to bring you that show later today. The show this morning is about the humiliation. Since it was Veterans Day, we woke up, it was Veterans Day, and we said, all right, well, there's a lot that we could talk about. Let's talk the trial, but let's also talk about what the Biden administration is doing to our country and doing in the nations that our veterans have fought to preserve. So it's Veterans Day. There are millions of Americans who fought abroad and fought in order to bring freedom to the world. The world as we know it exists as we know it because American men and women went to foreign shores far away from their homes and fought for people who they had never met, languages that they don't speak, and fought to preserve peace in this world. Say what you will about American engagement abroad. There are times when the evil rises at such a rate that that good men must stand up, good women must stand up and provide an interventionary force to that evil. And our American soldiers have done that throughout the course of history. Of course, we know very, very well that we have an ally in England, and we have an ally in Great Britain, and we fought 2 world wars with Great Britain over the last century. It's why it was very disturbing to me that Joe Biden farted on our ally this week. Joe Biden went and farted on Camilla Parker Bowles, the Duchess of Cornwall, in England. This, according to many reports. Here we read from the New York Post. Here's the headline from the New York Post. Camilla Parker Bowles can't stop talking about Joe Biden's long fart. Interestingly enough, Joe Biden was there to talk about climate change. Joe Biden was in England and in Scotland to talk about climate change. Joe Biden had canceled pipelines here in America, but decided to open a pipeline in his own pants. Opened up a full on fracking operation inside of his own trousers, and decided to display to the woman who's married to Prince Charles, the future King of England, decided to display to her the power of wind power and natural gas, and indeed it blew her away. The article, pretty simple. It's based on one account and one royal family insider who says Biden let out a long, loud fart while speaking with the Duchess of Cornwall at the COP26 summit, the climate summit. Camilla Parker Bowles hasn't stopped talking about that, the 78-year-old's long fart. The pair were making small talk at the global climate gathering in Scotland when the president broke wind, according to an informed source who told the Daily Mail. This is a quote. "It was a long and loud and impossible to ignore fart," they told the outlet. Camilla hasn't stopped talking about it. All right, so that's what happened. You can see here on your screen. This is, I think, it's just my opinion here, but I think this is actually the farting, this is the moment when Joe Biden decided to engage in engage in the hot air of diplomacy with our oldest ally. And this is the moment, I think, you can see it in his face, you can see it in his eyes. I think this may be the moment when this actually happened. You can also see it in her eyes here if you go ahead and, we can go ahead and punch in here. You can see it in her eyes. This may indeed be the moment. The Zapruder film, the Flatulence Files. This is indeed the face of a man who probably, is, wondering where the bathroom is inside of this palace. And so you can also see it here in Camilla's face, the disappointment, the sadness, the repulsion, the bitterness, the anger. How could you do this to us? We've been your ally for so long. How could you do it? How could you do it? I bring this up to you all because it is indeed Veterans Day. A lot of good American men fought to keep England free. 2 world wars we fought alongside England. Very important world wars. In fact, Joe Biden, did you know that Joe Biden was born before the Second World War ended? That's right. That's how old Joe Biden is. Joe Biden is 80 years old. Joe Biden was born in 1944 or 1943, one of those. And it was before the Second World War ended, before D-Day. So Biden is going, we say often on the show, is Biden the worst president in American history? Well, it depends. It's not just Joe Biden. Now Kamala Harris has taken the international stage and is humiliating our nation throughout Europe and across what used to be American allies, quickly eroding the best allies that we have in the world now at a time when we need them more than ever. From Snopes, did Biden fart in front of the Duchess of Cornwall? Unproven. They haven't proved that it happened yet. Okay, well, thank you, Snopes. Really appreciate that. All right, so Joe Biden finished embarrassing us, blowing away, let's just say, some of our oldest allies, allies that fought along with many American veterans. It is indeed Veterans Day, and bit of an insult there. But then the 1-2 punch. They send in Kamala Harris. So now they've sent in Kamala Harris. So Biden leaves England in a burst of hot air, and now Kamala Harris has come through in order to issue a burst of her own egregious, painful to listen to cackling. Let's start. Kamala visited a scientific center somewhere in France. Kamala's in France right now, and Kamala decided to start speaking to these scientists in kiddie talk, like child talk, like talking like the way you would talk to little kids. Like I don't even talk to my 1-year-old this way. Kamala starts like talking in baby talk to them, but with a French accent. See if you can discern it here.
With us in government, we campaign with the plan. Uppercase T, uppercase P, the plan. And then the environment is such that we're expected to defend the plan. Even when the first time we roll it out, there may be some glitches and it's time to reevaluate and then do it again.
What? The plan. The plan. Uppercase T, uppercase P.
We campaign with the plan. Uppercase T, uppercase P, the plan. And then the environment is such that we're expected to defend the plan. Even when the first time we roll it out, there may be some glitches and it's time to reevaluate and then do it again.
The plan. I have really important breaking news for all of you. I have uncovered the French accent trainer for Kamala Harris. It has been leaked to me, to this show. I will exclusively show you the person who taught Kamala Harris French.
Where are you, my stuffed dear cat of love? Oh no, I am looking someplace for you. Where does it that you are secreting itself, you? Where isn't your hiding place? Yoo-hoo, rabbit! Sautez-vous, wherever you... Huh? Flirt.
Kamala Harris's French trainer. You got to hand it to her. Got to hand it to her. Kamala Harris, she really does know her stuff. She really is wowing the people across the palaces of Europe, much in a way that Joe Biden blew them away. Kamala Harris is just really just the master of diplomacy here. Go ahead and check out Kamala Harris's prose inside of the French presidential palace before the French president here.
We have discussed the fact that indeed, I do believe, and I think we share this belief, that we are in a new era, which presents us with many challenges, but also many opportunities. And when the United States and France have worked together on challenges and opportunities, we have always found great success because of shared values and shared priorities. I look forward to our discussion today, and over the coming days, we will discuss a lot of issues, including one of the markers, sadly, of this new era, which is the pandemic, but creating that an opportunity for us to continue the work we have done since Professor Pasteur at the Institute where I was yesterday around scientific research, the work we can do together being prompted by the tragedy of this pandemic and our shared commitment for preparedness for the next pandemic, as well as our mutual desire to be a leader around the climate crisis and what we might do in terms of an investment, in terms of cooperation with the private sector, in terms of creating rules of the road as it relates to this new frontier in space. I look forward to a conversation about our shared interest in prosperity for our nations and understanding how that can impact our friends around the world and what we must do in regards to assisting those who are in need. So we have many topics for discussion, but I will say that building on the great conversation that you and President Biden had, I look forward to the next few days where we'll continue to work together and renew the focus that we've always had on our partnership and the benefit to the people of France and the people of the United States and the people of the world. Thank you.
Okay. I have been told by one of my team members that we are having a slight connection problem here. Tell me more, guys. If it's actually not working, I need to know. Okay, so really important in that video. The operable moment here is when Kamala Harris tries to pronounce Louis Pasteur's name, Marie Claire Louis Pasteur, and she uses like a weird Italian hand gesture. What is this? Listen.
Including one of the markers, sadly, of this new era, which is the pandemic, but creating that an opportunity for us to continue the work we have done since Professor Pasteur at the Institute where...
Look at her go. What an embarrassment. And then she's sitting there talking about how France and America can work in space, in exploration in space together. Yeah, America and France have never done that. So I don't know what history books Kamala Harris is reading, but she should go ahead and crack open the history books that said Emmanuel Macron, and this was an interesting, I think, observation. Emmanuel Macron did not grant Kamala Harris the famous the famous kiss that you get from like a French leader in France, the ceremonial and or traditional little kiss greeting. It was a cold handshake. I want to show you guys this bromance that happened, quite legitimate. These two guys really loved each other a lot. You can see that. Here is the First Lady of France smacking Donald Trump right in the face with a wet one. Holy moly! There's a lot of self-tanner in that photo, and you have the two of them really just being best buds. Look at this. Here's Donald Trump helping him get a little flake of something off his shirt. Donald Trump said in this moment he has to look perfect. He has to look beautiful. Yeah, so definitely a chilling effect the Kamala Harris Biden administration has had on. Here they are. Look at those two guys. Look at those dudes. They sure do love each other. All right, let's see what my team has said about our connection here. What's the deal, guys? Happened a few times since the live drops for 5 seconds. Wanted to flag. Okay, well, why don't we go ahead and hop off our the Wi-Fi. Maybe the Wi-Fi was glitchy here, and we'll jump back on just direct signal here. So okay, so for the end of the live, ladies and gentlemen, I gotta tell you, it's no wonder that Kamala Harris is traveling to Europe, escaping to Europe. Kamala Harris has some of the worst approval ratings of any vice president in history. It's quite remarkable, actually, and really is astonishing that Kamala Harris can have such low approval ratings, given the fact that the vice president normally nobody really has opinions on the vice president, right? It's kind of a ceremonial position, doesn't have a lot of power. And so here we have Kamala Harris, 28% approval, 51% disapproval, approval that is 10 points lower than Joe Biden. No wonder she wants to escape to France and start practicing using a fake French accent.
There, a full 10 points below her boss, who's been signing in recent months. Now, aboard Air Force Two on the flight over, Harris's spokeswoman, Simone Sanders, addressed the plunge. Listen.
I know folks on the polls, I like the pundits participate on that. The polls are a snapshot in time, and at this time, I am looking forward to touching down in Paris, France, but before that, taking a nap.
Taking a nap. This after Harris had been heavily criticized for failing to lead in her role as border czar, with an unprecedented number of illegal crossings continuing and talk of payments to families separated at the border. As former Trump advisor Kellyanne Conway says, Harris has become a liability for a struggling President Biden.
She's even worse off, and every time she goes to say something or manage something, they take her off of it right away. She's embarrassing to them. She spent about as much time at the border as you spend in the drive-thru at night.
And Dana, already this morning, Vice President Harris toured a vaccine lab working on pandemic preparedness, but later this week, she'll attend the Paris conference on Libya, focusing on migrants and refugees. We expect her to call for stronger Libyan borders to protect from terrorists. Dana?
Huh. You see that little jab at the end, little gotcha. Yeah, stronger borders all across the country, stronger borders across the world. The Biden administration is literally funding border walls in places like Afghanistan. The Biden administration is funding the building of border walls in Europe, not in this country. These people, malevolent, malicious, embarrassing. Again, Kamala Harris not getting a warm greeting from the French, a very cold greeting, actually. Check this out. Kamala Harris, that's a social distancing greeting right there. That's a social distanced greeting. Compare and contrast that to the greeting that Donald Trump got from the French. Yeah, these people, they loved him a lot, and their first lady loves him. The Biden administration not really making any friends abroad. The people view them as a laughingstock. Everybody in the international community knows that they are weak. knows that they are traitorous, knows that they don't care about their own country, so why would they care about our countries? Why? That's the question. You know, honestly, nobody respects people who don't care for their own people. Nobody. Nobody is on the side of the people who don't. If you're not caring for your own country, if you're not caring for your own people, nobody cares about you. It's amazing. It's obvious. Biden and Harris despise Americans. They despise this country. And so just be advised that nobody in the international community is going to want to deal with somebody who hates their own nation. And it's embarrassing because there's like so much to love about America, quite frankly. We should be proud. On this Veterans Day, I'm proud. I'm proud of all the veterans who fought to keep France free, who fought to keep England free, who fought to keep the people who we have a kindred history and a kindred blood with free. These nations, we took much from these nations and their philosophy and their renaissance when it came to the founding of America. France was our first ally against the British when it came to the founding of this country. We have a long and storied history of defending, protecting each other, and hundreds of thousands of Americans have perished on the shores of foreign nations, those two specifically, France and England, in the pursuit of a peaceful world. And we have had a relatively peaceful world for the past 70 years, thanks to the fortitude, the spines, and the brute of the American fighting man and woman. And we thank you, you silent sentinels in the night who keep all of us safe, mean men and women prepared to defend us, our nation, from those enemies, foreign and domestic. It does seem like domestic enemies are piling up in this country. It does seem as though many of the forces that seek to undermine and undergird what we have in this nation are indeed found inside of our own halls of our government. And it's something that we're going to have to figure out as a people, something that we're going to have to get awake to. Luckily, we are seeing a movement of people who are awake sweep across this nation. These scumbag communist tyrants and authoritarians are losing en masse across our nation, and they are humiliated en masse on the national and international stage. You know, whether they are soiling themselves in front of the British Royal House, or whether they are using fake French accents and fake and like offensive French gestures. These people, they're just a laughingstock. They're a laughingstock. Their polling and approval has collapsed. They're not coming back. And the more that you watch what's happening in the Kyle Rittenhouse trial, for instance, and what's happening across this nation, the more Americans are becoming awake to the fact that these people really want to destroy this great place. And so we're going to protect and preserve it, and we're going to work hard in order to do that. Thank you to Donald Trump and Melania Trump for issuing really sensible and beautiful remarks on this Veterans Day. Thank you to all of our veterans. Sorry that you have to watch this happen. You come from a honorable tribe. We support you. Our viewers support you. This movement supports you. Our freedom movement supports you. God bless all of you. We'll be live later today with a full special breaking down what's actually at stake and what is actually happening in the Rittenhouse trial. The biggest story of the day, but we want to make sure that we get it right. And so thank you all on this Veterans Day. And if you know a veteran out there, text them. Thank you today. God bless all of you.